Welcome everyone to this webinar. We're so excited to have you all here. Today we'll go over how to create a legal marketing strategy and measure the success of your plan. So let's get started here. Today we'll go over three main topics, specifically what makes up a marketing strategy, what tactics to include in your marketing plan, and how automation can support your marketing. And before we get started, I just wanted to point out that we have a Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and you can send any questions through that pop-up that comes up, and we'll save time at the end to answer your questions. And if we don't get to you, we'll send you an email, and we'll also send you a recording of the session. So let's get into it. I'm Nina Lee, Senior Marketing Manager here at PracticePanther, and I've had the honor of building relationships with partners to build sessions like this to really bring actionable steps that you can apply to your firm. And I'm joined here today by Stacey Burke, attorney and legal marketing expert. Stacey, can you tell a bit of yourself to everyone and a bit about your firm?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am a 20-year licensed Texas lawyer. And I left my legal practice where I had kind of reached the rank of partner about 8.5 years ago, not with the intention of starting a consulting business, but just trying to maybe consider a better work-life balance. And I got a lot of demand for people that used to be my competitors that wanted consulting services. And so it went from just being me giving advice to a few lawyers to now I have 7 full-time employees and 2 contractors and have consulted with over 300 firms across the country. So very happy to be here with you guys today and share a little knowledge and answer any questions that you might have.
So awesome. We're so happy to have you here. And just a little bit about PracticePanther. PracticePanther has enabled law firms to automate their practices and help people get more done in less time. We're an all-in-one, seamless, and intuitive solution that helps tens of thousands of legal professionals manage their complex and fast-moving cases without delays. And we prioritize building our features natively, all in our system, so you can keep everything in one place. So in PracticePanther, you can manage your cases, create custom workflows, reports, and manage everything related to your cases while also getting paid both securely and quickly with our built-in e-payments processing features, or even send out documents for electronic signature, or even text messages to your clients from PracticePanther at no added cost. And this is especially important in today's hybrid working environment where people are working both, in person and remote, or just doing a little mix of both. You need to be able to collaborate smoothly and intuitively, not just across your firm, but also with your clients. And PracticePanther is built with that in mind and with your clients in mind. So you can run your law firm as easily as possible. So that was a lot for introductions. And I really want to get into the goodies that Stacey has in store for us for marketing. So let's go into it. I'll pass it on to Stacey.
Okay, great. So first half, we're going to talk about how to develop the strategy for legal marketing for your firm. And then later we'll get into tracking metrics interspersed with some great slides from PracticePanther about how you can use their software to contribute to and make this process better. So kind of an overview of the topics that I'll cover under developing a marketing strategy are the fact that you need to have a historical baseline for where your firm is coming from. What metrics have been in place for all of the different endeavors that you've undertaken, all of your marketing expenditures, your Google Analytics, your social media KPIs, your Google Ads metrics, anything that you're spending money on, you want to have some sort of a historical baseline in place so that you can track how those numbers change in response to new and or increased marketing expenditures. So here's our slide on historical baseline. As part of that, we want to gather all the vendor contracts that you have for vendors that you're currently paying or anyone that you've worked with probably in the past year. Going back further than a year, I mean, you can, but it gets a little overwhelming. And you want to review each contract and determine and kind of lay out in memo format for yourself. You can just do it in a Word document. That's how I do it. Some people prefer Excel. who each vendor is, what services they provide or should be providing, and ideally how much you're paying them to do that. And then if you have access to, you want to review, as I talked about, the Google Analytics, the ads, the social media KPIs, and all other kind of important metrics. After you have your baseline, go to step 2. You want to define your goals, and you'll see, you know, I could say this on every slide, it will vary by firm, right? Because it varies by the size of firm, the budget of firm, the practice areas of the firm, the geographic location of the firm, how competitive things are, etc. But some common goals include increasing your conversion rate, right? So you want to, that basically means of all the leads that come in, the ones that are qualified, the ones that you want to sign up, you want to increase the percentage of those cases that your firm signs. So signing up more of the leads that you want, and of course, generating more of what you want. And then, you know, increasing the total number of leads, because in order to find the qualified leads, you need to have just more leads in general, received by a certain percentage per quarter. That's a good actionable goal. And decreasing your acquisition cost per lead, right? So if you're spending $5,000 on motor vehicle accident Google ads, you will know what your acquisition cost per lead that comes in from that campaign is, and you should overall, as you optimize the campaign or as your vendor optimizes the campaign, be able to decrease the acquisition cost. So you're getting more leads at a better price. And then for social media, increasing your following on the most important channels. I would say Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter are the 3 most important channels, in my opinion, and YouTube if you do a lot of video for law firm marketing. While there's a ton, you don't have to be on every channel, because then you're never going to have time to maintain them all and use them effectively. The more concrete you can be, the better. A lot of people say, I just want more cases and I want to make more money. The more concrete that you can be, the better that you can track mathematically how you are going about approaching your goal, how successful you're going to be. So step 3 is defining your target audience, right? So you may think, I know my target audience, I've been practicing law for 20 years. It varies by firm again, but here are just a few practice areas that I have clients for right now and have done a lot of work with firms that handle these matters. Insurance defense. So you're trying to target the decision makers within the insurance companies that write the most coverage in your state, right? That can get you on that list of approved outside counsel, and maybe in-house general counsel and or C-suite decision makers for insurance carriers and companies that have this type of insurance, for an auto accident practice, car accident injury victims that are hurt, or the families of those who have been killed, or maybe who have been hurt so badly they're not able to search for their own counsel within my geographic location. This is sort of, you know, the definition of how to define your target audience. For a pharmaceutical mass tort, right? So a particular medication, you want to know patients who took that medication and suffered actionable side effects, not just that took it, but that took it and that suffered one of the side effects that are subject to the litigation in progress, or that will be soon to be in progress if you sign them up. And for business litigation, stakeholders, owners, officers, directors, anyone kind of in a position of power or with decision-making authority within the size of business that you want to work with, and maybe the industries that you're focused on within your geographic region. So some good tips there. Step 4, determine the tactics that will achieve your goals, right? So you can have a strategy, right? Have goals, know your target audience. Great. But what tactics are you going to use to accomplish those goals? So here I gave an example. It's easier to kind of give these over with an example. A business litigation firm wants to reach those with the power to hire them that work within a business. So develop and increase the firm's presence on LinkedIn. So you want to do that by both creating, if you don't already have one, and or building out the firm's LinkedIn company page. So you can have both an individual profile, which is like my individual profile on LinkedIn for me, as well as a company page, which my business, Stacey Burke PC, has its own LinkedIn company page. And you want to make sure all of your attorneys have individual profiles that are also set up and fully built out. And there's a lot of fields and a lot of work that can be done to build those out. You want to brand them consistently using your logo, your typography from your logo, your appropriate colors, and all of that, so people recognize you, that you're the same entity, and the same picture that you use on your other digital assets, so they recognize your face. And then write some thought leadership content on a law firm website or blog, or even if you get media coverage, and share that on the firm's page. And then your individual attorneys and other staff members can engage in employee advocacy, which is free amplification of that content on all of their profiles, which reaches everyone that they're connected to for free. And so that's your free way of getting the content to be amplified, but you can also put some dollars behind it through LinkedIn advertising, which has improved tremendously in recent years. There's a lot of different advertising options. That's a whole other program in itself, but just know that you can really target, especially for commercial litigation firms, you can really target people by industry, by company size, by job title. It's a very useful tool, and it doesn't take a ton of money to promote your content. So step 5. Oh, we have another example. Sorry, I forgot. Mass torts firm wants to reach individual consumers who took a certain medication and suffered side effects, like we talked about. So for mass torts, for pharmaceutical class actions and mass actions, Facebook is really great because you reach a wider cross-section of society and you're more likely to reach consumers, whereas LinkedIn is great for B2B, business to business marketing. For B2C, business to consumer, you're going to look more towards Facebook and some of the other networks like it that are out there. You'll want to create a page, just like I talked about on LinkedIn, if the firm doesn't have one, or fully build out the firm's existing page, and develop a landing page on your website or on another platform. We like Unbounce, to which you can drive your potentially qualified leads and then create ads. You can create video ads, you can create ads with a static image that target your potential consumer. And so you'll look for people that have the medical conditions that would have necessitated taking this medication to begin with, as well as people that are interested in, there's millions of different ways you can target on the back end, people that are interested in the side effects that are associated with taking the medication, limiting the geographical scope to the areas you serve or the venues in which you want to try to acquire clients. Now step 5. So devise and implement a comprehensive strategy. So you want to include your goals, your target audience, and your actionable tactics. You want to craft your strategy for the year. It's a great time of year to talk about this because we're towards the middle of November and we're coming up on the holiday season, so many holidays, but you want to be prepared for 2022. And so you can craft broadly what you want to accomplish across the year, and then specifically by quarter. Knowing that, what you do in Q1 will impact and potentially change what you do in Q2, Q3, and Q4. So make sure that you know that you're going to have to be flexible in response to the success or lack thereof of the different tactics that you use to implement your strategy and to try to achieve your goals. And then these are just some suggestions of what you can include in a broad annual strategy. Get into more specifics on those here. So Q1, these are things that you could do for your social media strategy. Review your metrics across all of your existing channels for the prior year. Determine which channels have referred the most traffic to your website and or produced the most leads, ideally qualified leads, but any leads for your business. Focus on improving the existing channels that already perform best. Right? Just because I've done okay on Facebook and LinkedIn, now I'm going to do Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and Vimeo. No, take what's already working and look into it and see what's performing best, what type of content has performed best, and make what's already working for you work even better. That would be a good first quarter choice for social media. For email marketing, if you're not already doing it, so research available email service providers and find the best solution for your firm. A lot of firms like MailChimp, a lot of firms like ActiveCampaign. We've also used Infusionsoft. There's a ton of options. You're going to want to export and import segmented and tagged contacts tagged by their role in relation to the firm, meaning are they a current client, a former client, a referral source, you know, any one of a million different relationships they can have with a firm, because the more that you import them with those tags, the more you can segment your messaging so that the appropriate people are receiving the appropriate message. Then design and develop at least one template for a newsletter. You want to send a test to people at the firm so they can like check it out, make sure all the links work and it renders well across devices, and then send out a first quarterly email newsletter and look at your metrics after you send it to see how it goes. Content marketing, super important. So I'm sure if you follow any marketing blogs or read anything about Google algorithms, content remains king and queen, truly, of digital marketing. So you want to review your website's organic rankings for targeted keyword phrases. There are a variety of tools that do this. Some of the great ones that I've used are Rank Ranger and Ahrefs. They do come at a cost. But if you're working with an agency, they should be providing you with this information. And if they're not, you should ask them to. Determine which keyword rankings are close enough that you can like bolster them. Say you're real close to being in the top 3 spots, which are the ones that get clicked on in the first page of organic search results, like your 5, 6, 7. Bolster those with additional pages of content. And then which keyword phrases you're not ranking for at all, but you want to start, come up with a strategy for how to do that. And then craft a corresponding editorial calendar showing which pages of content will be written each month, who's going to be responsible for them, and then publish these items of content, whether they're blogs or web pages, according to the calendar, and share them everywhere. Social media, email, wherever you'd like, both your individual and firm branded profiles. And then video. Video is increasingly becoming important. Number one, because people don't want to take the time necessarily to read a long form piece of content. While it's excellent for search engine optimization and for the user experience, having a video that answers the question in 30, 60, or 90 seconds embedded in that same page and or on other channels will also capture a lot of people. So research and find a good vendor, determine the current rankings of web pages where you may want to add a video. And then there's a lot of other specifics that are listed, you know, your wardrobe, things you need to finalize, etc. But incorporating video, getting some video shot in the first quarter of next year is a great goal for someone that doesn't have any video contemplated currently. So here's the really important part. All of the rest of it is great, but if your law firm is not prepared to handle an influx of new leads that come in from increased marketing expenditures or better optimized marketing expenditures, meaning maybe you're spending the same or less money, but you're doing a better job. Your dollars are working harder for you. You're flushing money down the toilet. So not only do you need some sort of a system, and it should not be a spreadsheet or pieces of paper where you write down leads, you need software, sorry. You need it for lead processing and nurturing, right? Not everybody signs up at the first time you communicate with them. So you need to have a process, a sequence within software that will help the person that's doing intake know how to nurture your leads according to a pre-established sequence. And then you also can use that data to eventually remarket to and remain top of mind with people that have contacted your firm.
Stacey, you just went over a ton, and I think that the main takeaway here is just the consistency in any platform or any channel of marketing that your firm wants to dive into. It's just the consistency of either your posting schedule or how your firm is presented in each place. It needs to have a cohesive look and feel. And I think this dives directly into what I wanted to talk about here on the next slide. So the fastest way to convert someone is to give them a means to self-service themselves, right? So working with you and your firm should be extremely easy and seamless to get started. You want to be able to manage these clients both internally and externally, like Stacey said. How are you going to keep track of them? Who has ownership over them? And how are we delivering a good impression to these new clients? Being able to learn and mold a tool to how your firm works is really the key to getting adoption from the rest of your team. So we built PracticePanther to be customizable to your firm and continue to build out features that are simple and user-friendly while providing the support you need so you don't have to reinvent your practice. So I'm just going to jump into a few features that I think you need to make sure you have to have the right vessel for tracking lead sources and getting those new clients through the door. And that starts with the client intake form. So client intake forms are digital forms that you can create and send out directly to your clients. You can add it to your website or in your emails with a hyperlink. And if you're in person, you can even load it up on an iPad at the office. So going paperless just streamlines the process with a tech forward experience, and you avoid the whole bad handwriting mishaps that can come with paper intake processes, and that can be difficult to decipher. So that takes away 15 minutes going over general information and saves time for your initial meetings. You can also customize your branding, which we've gone over before, your logo, a cohesive first impression to reassure your client that you're not here to waste time. You're tech savvy, you value their security and their privacy with this sort of digital intake form. And you can even create forms for follow-ups afterwards and customize them to serve your team. So I'll go into more detail later on how you can track your lead sources in PracticePanther and the reports that you can run, but having this smooth intake process is the first step of getting your clients through the door. Now, take a moment to think quickly about the types of documents you send through your prospects and your clients on a regular basis. It can be tedious to create new documents with their information each time. So what you can do instead is you can use merge fields already in PracticePanther and create custom fields to create document templates. It's really easy. You just include the merge fields into your Word document and upload it to the system. And the template will pull information from your contact profile and matter automatically. So creating a customized document for your client just takes a couple clicks. This is not only a consistent experience, but it's a smooth transition for all your prospects to become a client. And it also frees up valuable time for your team so they don't have to mess around with Word documents or PDFs. Once templates are set up, it's just available for them to generate a new version anytime. Now, the workflow feature is the most popular feature in PracticePanther across the board for all practice areas. And what the workflow feature does is it allows you to automate the creation of tasks and events on your calendars and pre-assign who in the firm is responsible for what. And you can even preset reminders in the form of a text, email, or a pop-up. You can seamlessly collaborate across your team without having to recreate the wheel each time a new case comes in. And this applies to any new prospect that comes in too. So imagine you have 20 new cases a month and they have the same introductory step going into them. Rather than doing the same tasks over and over and having to set them up all over again, you could just preset exactly what needs to be done by who, or even use some of our preset templates for workflows, and the software will automate the rest. So you don't have to inform your staff on every single detail or every court rule or whatever. Just let the workflow feature serve as a guide for exactly what needs to be done next. And this is especially helpful when your firm is growing so much and you're hiring new staff, maybe you're hiring a paralegal or bringing on a new attorney to the firm. The workflow feature will allow you to standardize your processes in your firm and leave no room for confusion in any situation. And as calls and leads come through your marketing efforts, you need to be on top of following up with those leads. As Stacey said, exactly, it's just money down the drain that you spent on all this marketing to get them in front of you in the first place. So each time you get a lead, you should have a consistent, proven cadence of following up with them to convert them to hire you. And you can do this by setting up reminders for yourself, other users at your firm, or even your prospects or clients on their tasks from PracticePanther. You can set up to 5 reminders per task or event and get alerts as a text message, email, or a pop-up in the program. So for example, you can set up a reminder 3 days after your initial call to follow up with a prospect, a reminder to call them 2 days after that as the next touch point, and so on to nurture that relationship. And we really give you the means to remind yourself so you don't lose on that really qualified lead. And I'll pass this back to Stacey on how we can really measure success as a whole from all our marketing efforts.
And so well said about the lead nurturing. It's one of the components that a lot of firms don't systematize, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And it's the most important one because the decision-making process is different for each person that you talk to, and even varies by practice area if you're a firm with more than one type of practice area. So you can set up different intake follow-up sequences and lead nurturing sequences based on the type of lead that comes in too. So it's great. So I'm a big fan of using software to do this. So measuring success. Here we go. A little overview again. You want to own and control your metrics, ensure you get vendor reporting that's good, do your own internal reporting is also important, and then monitor metrics yourself to ensure you're reaching the goals that you set in the beginning when we did our strategy. So by owning and controlling your metrics, this is what I mean. Your law firms specifically, I'm going to focus on a few, although there's a ton. Google Suite, which is Google Analytics, Search Console, Tag Manager, ads, your business listing, YouTube. Hopefully they're all under one, login. That's not always the case. And sometimes you can get them merged so that they should be all controlled under one account that the firm sets up and owns and controls, not a vendor. Because you don't want to be beholden to a vendor to get access to this information. This is your data for your digital properties. And if a vendor tries to tell you they need to set it up and own and control it, they're lying, because we set it up for every law firm that we work with. We set it up for them, but we set up a Gmail address that's dedicated for them that they own and control, so that if they want to take their data and move along, it's theirs. It should be theirs. So make sure that you do that. And then you can grant or revoke access as needed to people that you work with, or then maybe don't work with, or that work for you, that are participating in this process, and leave your firm as you go through the process of marketing. So vendor reporting. This is where I think a lot of lawyers, are reluctant to voice that they're confused because, we've gone through a lot of schooling. We feel like we're pretty smart, but when it comes to marketing terminology, know that just like legalese, a lot of the words that we use in our legal practice for our clients is like speaking another language. Sometimes marketing lingo is the same way. So ensure that every vendor that you work with, first of all, sends you monthly reporting, because a lot don't. And they should, and it should communicate the information that you want to know in language you understand. You are the customer. You are paying them to work for you. So in this case, you're the client. So if you're not getting what you want, you tell them, I want you to change your reporting. This is what I want to know. And I want you to tie it back to data that I can export for you from my case management software that I use. And you can also have every right to ask for a call with your vendor where they review your report line by line and page by page. I have firms, some that I've worked with for 7 or 8 years, that I still do this with, and I'm happy and grateful to do it because that's my business. That's my job, is to make sure they understand that what I'm doing is delivering results and how that's happening. Internal reporting. Very hated by a lot of attorneys when I tell them that they have to do this, because if you only rely on what the vendor's telling you, you're getting only their filtered view of what you're doing. So as part of internal reporting, as we already talked about, put all your leads in your case management software and rate them, right? So if you have like a custom field that can be added, or if there's a field that can be used so you can rate them, if it's 1 to 5 or yes or no, or signed or not, or their status, however it is that you want to rate them, it's very important, because when you rate your leads and export that data and send it back to the vendor that's generating them, they'll know which of their like ad sets or which of their, pay-per-click ad language generated that particular lead. And so if you say, I want more of this, then they'll spend more money on that and bid down or stop spending on things that are generating bad leads, that are wasting your intake employees' time talking on the phone to people that you don't want. You also want to know internally your acquisition cost per lead and per signed case. A vendor can't do that for you. You can do that because you're going to know which leads are qualified or not, and what you decide to sign up, as well as the projected revenue back to the firm, which you will estimate a lot of times for a line of credit with the bank, or just to have an idea of the value of your docket internally. Regardless, all of this is very important data to track internally, to be able to revenue forecast and to see what's working, right? Just because what's a conversion to a marketing vendor is not the same thing as what's a conversion to a law firm, right? For me, someone submits a contact form, that counts as a conversion. I know, having practiced personal injury law myself for a long time, that just because a form gets submitted doesn't mean it's a case that I'm going to want. And so for me, a conversion is someone that the firm signs up and is going to make money off of. So that's what you want to know, and only your firm can know that and track that internally.
That's a really great distinction, Stacey. And I hope everyone's heard of this saying, you can't improve what you don't measure, and you can't measure what you don't track. And there's just this one way that you can do this very easily in PracticePanther. We have this tagging ability, and there's really no wrong way to use these tags. And you can think of them as custom categories you can assign on a contact or matter, or even on activities. So you can create tags for different marketing campaigns that your firm may have been running, and see if they came through your Facebook pages, or if they came from ads, if they came from Google reviews, or if someone within your network or from an event referred them to you. This is a great way to track ROI of marketing efforts directly within PracticePanther, where you just keep everything else related to your cases. You could even tag contacts and matters by practice area, region, or even specific courthouses. And the real beauty of consistently using tags is that you'll then be able to create custom reports in PracticePanther and really dive into the data. You can run a report and determine which marketing campaigns or referral partners gave you the most leads, and you can put more of those resources and focus there, like Stacey mentioned. If you really wanted to get nitty gritty, you can even tag your referred leads by if they became a client or not, and attribute which of your marketing channels gave you the most qualified leads. And this isn't costing you any more money from your marketing budget, but you'll be seeing the returns of your consistent tracking and analysis by landing more and more of those qualified clients. And by shifting your focus on the marketing campaigns that work for you, you're just showing up more frequently where your qualified leads actually are. And the level of detail you want to extract out of the platform is up to you, and it's fully customizable and flexible to fit your firm. So like as Stacey was saying, if you define conversions in a certain way, you can easily tag that within the system.
So you also want to track your progress towards your goals, which if you consistently use case management software, it will help you do that. So remember all the goals that we talked about. Now you want to look at the metrics and see if you're meeting them in Google Analytics. Google Analytics, by the way, is free. Your social media channels, free. They all have key performance indicators and insights. Everything names the same thing, something different. You can access all of that with administrative access for free to gauge percentage increases and decreases across all of your important metrics. It's all easily accessible, it's all free, and you can export all of it into Excel to keep things, kind of track things month over month, because that's what you want to track, right? It's not going to be a straight upwards trajectory. Sometimes it's a little jagged. You know, some months you may gain 22 LinkedIn company page followers, and the next month maybe 2. That's okay, as long as we're trending upward overall across the year, and meeting our goals on a quarterly basis or an annual basis, we're happy.
And I think we're at the end here. Thank you so much, Stacey, for just your insight into how to create a marketing strategy for law firms. And if anyone wants to reach out, Stacey's contact is here on the screen. And if you'd like to learn more about PracticePanther, you can get a custom free demo at the link shown on the screen as well. Let's see, we have some time left over for questions, and please feel free to continue leaving questions in the Q&A box. But I can start off with one here. So I see one for me. How do custom workflows work? Are they conditional? So yes, you can apply one of our templates and the tasks and events will automatically get created for you in a conditional format. So one task must be completed for the next one to be assigned and dated. You just get to pick the dates yourself and who does the task itself. We just make sure that it goes in a specific order. And you can also customize the order of tasks as well. Stacey, I think this one would be good for you. How can solo or small firms create a marketing strategy on a budget?
So that's a really common question that I get asked because, in my background, I spent 11 years at what would be considered a small firm. So I know how to be budget conscious. And a lot of people want to be budget conscious, especially in the beginning of working with a new vendor, because, you know, they've been burned before. I talked to so many attorneys. I've been burned before. I worked with this vendor and they said they were going to do X and we didn't get Y and it was terrible. So I understand wanting to be budget conscious. I think just, you know, being mindful of what all the tasks are that you want to accomplish across the year, kind of noting out how much those different items are going to cost, like video production can be really expensive if you work with a high-end video production company. And so maybe email marketing in MailChimp, which, you know, is free or very low cost on a monthly basis, would be a better first expenditure, because then you're just database mining. You're using the contacts that you already have. You don't have to acquire anything new, and just creating one template, which in MailChimp, they're drag and drop. You know, you can do custom design, which we do, but you can drag and drop and make something look really nice and send it out. And so just being conscious of what different things cost and prioritizing based on how much you're comfortable spending each quarter on those items will help you make more cost-effective decisions. And then you can gauge the success of those efforts. And if they're awesome, do more, spend more.
I think this next question ties in perfectly with that. How can I prepare marketing for the first quarter of the year?
So use some of my tips that we talked about in the beginning, but I think it is important. Now is the time to do it. Not after the first of the year when it's already January and you're coming back after spending winter break with your family or on vacation. Now is the time really to do it, to look at all of that data across this past year. Where have your cases that you've signed come from? What percentage are, you know, have a referral fee attached, and who have been your best referral sources? Send them a holiday gift. You know, this is your time to be both grateful and analytical, and look at your expenditures one by one and see, have they really generated leads that I've signed? I'm doing it for a firm right now where I'm going through, they have kind of 6 main vendors, and I'm looking at what their contracts are, what their deliverables were, and if those expenditures led to signed clients. And then the firm can tell me what the projected revenue is to see if the ROI is higher than what they spent. Right? You want to make sure that you're making more money than what you're spending on marketing. And so doing that now allows you to trim the fat. Don't go into the next year continuing contracts with vendors that you're spending money and not making money. Now is the time to review them, determine what's working and what's not, get rid of the people that aren't working, and go into the new year with kind of like a refreshed strategy and a little bit of a clean slate, as well as potentially spending more on what's generated the best business for your firm.
That makes a lot of sense. And now I'm glad that we did this session today and didn't wait later, because it's absolutely perfect timing.
It is, it's good timing.
There's this one question. How many intake forms can I create? You can build unlimited intake forms, and they are completely customizable. They'll be white labeled as if they're from your firm. So no outside branding. It would all be yours, and it's unlimited. I can take this question. Does PracticePanther help with training? Yes. So we have 30-minute sessions or 60-minute sessions that you can book one-on-one with our team, and You can book them whenever you'd like. We're fully available to your schedule. You just have to reach out to our training team and book a time. But this is especially useful for new people on the firm. They can book some time individually with our team, so you don't have to, train them yourselves, but you can just pass them on to us and we'll help them with whatever they need. I think that's it for time right now. So thank you again, Stacey, for your time. Do you have any things you want to close out with?
Sure. Thank you so much to PracticePanther and Nina and Cameron for having me. This experience has been wonderful. You guys are very organized, and I think your software offers a lot of advantages. There's a lot of potential for the firms that use case management software. Don't just buy it and not customize it. Use all of the capabilities that are available because you're paying for them. They're part of what's there. As far as me, my consultations are free. You can find me I'm very active on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, but I'm probably the most active on Twitter, but you can email me. My email address is on my website. I'm always happy to talk to anyone who works within a law firm or a legal industry vendor about how I can help. And it's for free. And then we talk about moving forward from there. So thanks for having me. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day and an awesome holiday season.
Thank you so much, Stacey. It's been a joy just going over this with you. If anyone would like a custom demo of PracticePanther, you can reach out at practicepanther.com/demo. And of course, staceyburke.com/services to reach out to Stacey. But thank you so much. We'll close out the webinar today and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.